بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباد الذين اصطفاه ومن بهداهم اهتدى. Salaam Allahi alaykum. Brothers and sisters, time is always limited. Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, famous hadith of Jibreel, when asked about Islam, Ihsan, Iman, he said towards the end, he said that's في خمس لا يعلمهن إلا الله, that it is amongst the knowledge of the hour is amongst 5 things which only Allah alone has the knowledge of. And he went on and he read the ayah that these 5 things in Allah, indahu ilm as-sa'ah, he knows when the hour will occur, that ينزل الغيث, about rainfall. And he did say in the hadith, just for those of you that are wondering, he never said matar, he said ghayth, and that is beneficial rain, not just rain. He said that which is in the wombs, as in it completely, whether it will be a believer, disbeliever, of good characteristics, everything. And then he went on to say what the soul will earn tomorrow and when it will die. Our time is absolutely limited. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, he stood up and he placed one hand before his head and he placed the other in front. And he said, he said that this hand, this is death to the son of Adam, and the hand in front, that is his amal, his hopes, aims, and ambitions. How do we, what do we engage ourselves with within this time, within this limited time? From amongst the fara'id, mashallah, many ulama speaking of different things, but something I'd like to focus on is talab al-ilm, the need to seek knowledge. Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, talab al-ilmi faridah ala kulli muslimin wa muslimah, that seeking knowledge is obligatory on every Muslim. And he could have just stopped there, ala kulli muslim. Generally in the Arabic language, you have what is known as taghlib, the male pronoun usually, and the male nouns usually cover female nouns, feminine nouns. But here he went on to say, wa kulli muslima, so that, litantafi shubha, so there's no doubt whatsoever, every male and female Muslim must be seeking knowledge. Must be. Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, al-ayyamu thalatha, that the days are 3. Yawmun madah, la tadriku minhu ala shay, a day that is gone and you can't do anything about that day. Yawmu ghadin la tadri tudriku am la, tomorrow you do not know whether you will reach it or not. Wa yawmun anta fi, and a day that you are in now. Faghtanimhu, so seize it. We have to, brothers and sisters, ask ourselves a question. Do we consider ourselves to be practicing? And I don't say perfect, فَكُلُّ بَنِي آدَمْ خَطَّاء, I say practicing. And if the answer is yes, inshallah, we'd like to consider ourselves to be practicing, then we've already made a choice. We're on a path. Now the difference is, do we want to tread that path? Or do we just want to be bystanders, fall by the wayside? What does practicing mean? Does it mean that we're going to pray our salah? Salah, just a basic thing. SubhanAllah, how many of us know the basic things of salah? And I emphasize the fiqh, I emphasize the deen, because this salah is a pillar of the faith. Man aqamaha aqama ad-din, wa man hadamaha hadama ad-din. Whoever established it has established the prayer, has established the deen. Whoever destroys it has destroyed the deen. How many of us even know the basic issues of salah? From slightest of things, from when you do your takbirah, just to begin your salah. Do you know if you were to stretch it, say instead of Allahu Akbar, you'd say Allahu Akbar. You've added an extra, you've made it a mad. That actually turns the whole meaning. It's now a question, is Allah the Great? According to many scholars within the Hanafi madhab and some of the Shafi'i, that salah is batil. Do you know if you were to expand on the ba, you'd say Allahu Akbar. That is the plural of kabar, which is drums, tabal. That Allah is that which is kufr. And the salah is once again invalid according to predominantly the Hanafi madhab and some of the Shafi'i ulama. These are the basic things of salah. Right. We could go on to things like wudu, intentions. How do we have wudu? How don't we have wudu? What about Sawm, fasting? Ramadan's just around the corner. How do we maintain our Sawm, our Siyam, our fast? How do we invalidate it? Not that we want to, but how does it become invalidated? We have to go out and learn. And one of the things that I would like to emphasize is the Arabic language. Al-Lughat al-Arabiyyah. Presumably, most of you from Birmingham, I do not see any excuse for anybody, right, not to be learning the Arabic language. Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, in one of his fatwas says, تعلم اللغة العربية واجب على كل مسلم قدر المستطاع. That it is obligatory for every Muslim to be learning the Arabic language. لغة الإسلام إنا أنزلناه قرآنا عربيا. It has been revealed an Arabic Quran. We have to dispel this myth that the Arabic language can't be learned. It can. It is wajib. I'm of that opinion. Completely support it. That is wajib for every Muslim to be learning Arabic to his or her capacity and capability. We've got, speaking of Arabic, just to mention, if you live here, there's so many, some people sometimes say, well, where can we learn? There's so many places, so many circles here, but the local colleges are teaching it for free. Those of us that are learning that, mashallah, what about fiqh? Some of the ulama, mashallah, hafidahumullah, they're saying great things, and it's true, there are several aspects of Islam that we should be looking at, but I am here focusing on seeking knowledge. You understand? We should be learning fiqh, true, وَلِكُلِّ مَقَامٍ مَقَالٍ وَلِكُلِّ فَنٍّ رِجَالٍ. Every science and skill has its people. وَلِلنَّاسِ فِي مَا يَعْشَقُونَ مَذَاهِبُ. People have a passion for what they do. But fiqh, this is our basic, how do we pray? How do we do these things? MashaAllah, it's very good coming to talks. This is a very good thing. But, I'm of the opinion, maybe 10 years ago it was something that, subhanAllah, was a big thing. But now these things are readily available. We have to upgrade. You have to start learning the deen. A bit more commitment than just once in a term, attending a talk. You've got to go to circles. You've got to start studying ilm. It's not enough now just to be attending a talk and feeling real elated and everything that I've done my bit for Islam. Wallahi la yakfi. It's not enough. And we have, within Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah brings within his I'lam al-Muwaqqi'in, and it's generally a law for anybody that's studying ifta to give fatwas, that al-ahkam tataghayyar bil-azman, that the rulings, especially that are contingent or dependent on time, they change with time. So, like I said, it was very good, mashallah, at a certain time to be attending talks and doing your bit, but now the time has changed. Fiqh, learning the Sharia, is readily accessible. We should be attending that. You understand? If anybody's not doing that, فَلَا يَلُومَنَّ إِلَّا نَفْسَهُ, just blame himself or herself. That we will also get, this also leads us to sometimes that a little knowledge can be very dangerous. Sometimes we'll get people with, mashallah, they'll probably read a book or something, which is very good. We should be trying to do our bit, but then they'll go around trying to, maybe it's a psychological state of insecurity, but they're just going around, what's this, what's that, is this a Sahih Hadith, is that a Sahih Hadith, what is this? And I'm not saying, it could be anybody, and it's very good, but even a Sahih Hadith, how many people know the 5 or odd conditions what make a Hadith Sahih? If one of the narrators in a Hadith, one of the rawis is weak, let's say, why is he weak? Let's say, like Imam Bukhari said something, what about Yahya ibn Ma'in, what about Abu Hatim al-Razi, what about Abu Zur'a, what about all the other ulama of Hadith, what have they said about him? A narrator of Hadith, one of the laws, one of the rules for when a Hadith is da'if and a narrator has been criticized, is that it can't be, it must be mufassar, it must be explained. There's certain rules, but it comes back to, we have to learn this. It's not just going to come to us. We've got, and one of what you'll get a hadith in Athar in Bukhari, إِنَّمَا الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ, that seeking knowledge, it is by going out there and learning. بَذْلُ النَّفْسِ وَالنَّفِيسِ, spending what you got. And another thing is we shouldn't, sometimes it becomes like a charity. If you've got to, go out there, pay for it. We don't have to be cheapskates. Do you understand? When people do their thing, they go, if somebody really wants to study something, he goes out there, he does what he can to get it. But when it comes to the Islamic sciences, everybody's just on absolute, pure economic standard. Everything's just economy service. But the point is, we've got to do what we can to get it. You'll get sometimes, and this also brings me back to a question sometimes some people say is, what about if we just go out, get a book of hadith? Is that, is this sufficient for us? Classical example, Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, getting one of these. Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, very good, mashallah, books of hadith, which we should all be endeavoring to study. But the point is, these are not books of fiqh. The Sahihain, Bukhari and Muslim, that's what they called, are jami'as. You call them a jami', al-jami' al-sahih lil-Imam Bukhari, al-jami' al-sahih lil-Imam Muslim. A jami' in hadith is a book of hadith that contains 8 genres, 8 categories. You'll have siyar, you'll have adab, you'll have aqaid, you'll have tafsir, you'll have manaqib, you'll have fitan, ahkam, you'll have ashrat. I don't expect you to know these, but these are the 8 genres of what a jami' has. A sunan, however, like Sunan Abi Dawood, Sunan Tirmidhi, Sunan Darmi, these books of hadith are books that have been organized according to fiqh. That's the difference between a jami' and a sunan. I'm not saying that Sahihain don't have it all, the ahkam al-sharia. Hajj al-Asqalani in his commentary said one of the reasons Imam Bukhari did gather the hadith was to libayan al-ahkam al-sharia, to explain the Islamic rules, but that was not the purpose, full stop. If you go through the chapters, they're broken up. It's not like a book of fiqh. You couldn't just sit down and study your fiqh from that. It'd be very, very difficult. It also brings us back to sometimes, knowing a sahih hadith. Just because a hadith is sahih, is it acted according to? Do we straight away immediately implement it? Now, the ulama traditionally have differed. I know that may come as a shock to some of you, but it's the truth. You'll have, for example, you have a famous statement, you have a famous statement that if the hadith is sahih, just throw it against, throw my statement against the wall from a lot of the madhabs and but you'll get a lot of the ulama, they have conditions which are from, like for example, what if a hadith apparently seems to be going against the Quran? What if with Imam Malik, rahimahullah, and his chain in hadith, according to Imam Bukhari, is a silsilat al-dhahabiyah. It's the golden chain. Now, from amongst the usul of Imam Malik, and I'm Maliki al-Madhab, right? From amongst the usul of Imam Malik, we have Amlu Ahl Medina, the practice of the people of Medina. You will get a hadith in the Muwatta, and Imam Malik will say, هذا الحديث ليس عليه العمل ببلدنا, that the practice is not in support of this hadith. The practice is another hadith. It's just a chain, but 1,000 on 1,000. Do you understand? Once, just to explain a bit on this, you had Qadi Abu Yusuf, great Hanafi judge, great Hanafi scholar, one of the students of Abu Hanifa. He was there at Medina, and there was a scale in the past. It was known as al-mud. It's called a mud. It's approximately about 2 handspans, and it was a scale. And every city would claim that they had the one according to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Abu Yusuf, when he saw the mud of Medina, and he said, subhanAllah, he said, you guys, sorry, but you got it wrong. So Imam Malik said, is that so? He said, all right. So he just called a few people that were local, and he said, can you do me a favor? Go home and get a mud. So about 30, 40 people went home, and they got a mud, and they came back. He said, tell me, who gave you that mud? He said, oh, my grandfather. Who was he? A Sahabi. Who gave you that mud? Oh, my great uncle. Who was he? He was a Sahabi. Who gave you? Oh, my father. Who gave him? His father. Who was he? A Sahabi. Imam Malik said, I rest my case. Sometimes Imam Malik, as he was taught by his Ustad Rabi'at al-Ra'i, that al-alfu an alf ahabbu ilayya min wahidan wahid, that 1,000 from 1,000 is far more beloved to me than one on one. You have a hadith sometimes, but you'll have 1,000 people narrating another hadith. That's a hadith as well. It's not, to say that this person has said this and the hadith says that is wrong. Say this hadith says this and the hadith that this person has used says that. Put the hadith against the hadith. Don't put the statement against the hadith. That is wrong. Now, you had examples like this now within some of the madhabs, and we've got to have tolerance. Within some of the madhabs, the adhan is different. I don't know if some of you know this, is a shock, maybe a shock, but subhanAllah, it's ilm. The adhan, according to some of the madhabs, it only has 2 takbirs in the beginning. Now that was the Maliki madhab. Abu Yusuf, when he reached Medina, he was shocked. He said, subhanAllah, he said, people of Medina don't even know adhan. But rahimahullah, but what did Imam Malik say? He said, subhanAllah, he said that the children have taken from the fathers who have taken from the Prophet ﷺ. This was the practice. And this is sometimes understanding that the Hanafi madhab have their own conditions. Understanding the conditions and how it's a comprehensive thing once again. Do you understand? We're not saying that the hadith of Sahih shouldn't be rejected, but we're saying that all the sciences of the Sharia, including usul fiqh, including fiqh, which is Sharia, including hadith, usul hadith, all these things, the Arabic language should be studied. Like some of our scholars in the past, what they did for the deen. I'll mention an example, a Hanbali scholar, Abu al-Wafa ibn Aqil, great Hanbali scholar. He wrote, mashallah, several works. One of his works, which was known as Al-Funun, it was 800 volumes long. Al-Dhahabi said that there is no book in the world that can match it. 800 volumes. And in the beginning, he began it by saying, he said, خَيْرُ مَا قُطِعَ بِهِ الْوَقْتِ وَشُغْلَتْ فِيهِ النَّفْسِ, that the best thing that you can pass time by and engage the self in is talab al-ilm. And he said, that is what I have done. We have precedents of ulama like Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, who was Hafidh al-Mashriq, Hafidh of the Eastern Muslim world. He used to walk down the road with a book in his hand, memorizing it, or just going through it, saying that time shouldn't be wasted. He was a Hafidh of the Eastern world, Hafidh al-Mashriq. The Hafidh of the Western world in the same time was Ibn Abd al-Barr. You had 2 Hafidhs alive at the same time that they completely dominated their region. And they both, subhanAllah, in 1 year, 463 Hijri, they both died. These people were this is our lineage, this is our culture. Subhanallah. Today we don't have a clue about our ulama. We should know at least the same, we should know about them the way we know about, football stars, movie stars, if not more. هؤلاء آبائي فجئني بمثلهم إذا جمعتنا يا جرير المجامع. This is our lineage. This is it. This is ilm. We ain't got a clue about our ulama. There were so many examples. I know we can't do that. I don't expect us to write 800 volumes, but can't we do our little bit? If we can, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, figure that out. I ain't gonna embarrass myself trying to do that. But 24/7, if we can give 3 or 2 lousy hours a week, wallahi, what is that? 2 lousy hours a week trying to study our deen. And it leads us to the fact that once again that time is valuable. And we have to spend it in seeking knowledge. We have to create tolerance, once again, understanding. There was a sheikh once that he had a student, and the student studied with him for over a decade, and he was going away. He said, Sheikh, he said, Awsini, he said, give me some advice. So he said, just act on what I've said to you. Khalas, hasbuk, it's enough for you. He said, no, give me some advice. He said, okay, come to me in the morning before you leave. So he turned up. He said, Sheikh, what's the wasi? Give me some advice. He said, okay. He said, don't ever claim to be God, and don't ever claim to be a prophet. Ma'as salama. Off you go. And he was gutted. He thought, what? He thought, subhanAllah, is this what the Sheikh thinks of me? I've been with this Sheikh for over a decade, and is that what he thinks of me? But he was gutted, so he went back, and he said, Sheikh, he said, please, I'm really confused, and you got to explain to me what you just said. And he said, okay. He said that things should always be as you want. That is claiming to be God. And that you should always be correct in what you say. That is claiming to be a prophet. Imam Malik, rahimahullah, who has also set us an example, because it comes back to time and what do we know of our time and how much we have left. Imam Malik, rahimahullah, there is a hadith that Prophet ﷺ said, يُوشَكُ أَن تُضْرَبُ أَكْبَادُ الْإِبِلِ فِي طَلَبِ الْعِلْمِ فَلَا يَجِدُونَ أَعْلَمْ مِنْ عَالِمِ الْمَدِينَةِ. That soon the camels will be beaten in the search for knowledge, and that the people will not find anybody more knowledgeable than the scholar of Medina. And the ulama predominantly agree that that was Imam Malik. Now he was so concerned about dying outside of Medina that he never left Medina throughout his life except once for Hajj. And when he was about to leave, he was so he was so worried, thinking, what if I die outside of Medina? And so he was really, really occupied with this thought. And he had a dream where he saw the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, he said, when will death come to me so I know? And Prophet ﷺ went like that, showed him his palm, and he woke up, and he was, damn, he thought, what's that? And then I said, damn, but he said, what's that? He said, what, am I going to die in 5 years, 5 months, 5 weeks, 5 days, 5 what? Really confused. So he's walking around Medina, and then he went to a sheikh. This is Imam Malik, Imam Dar al-Hijrah. He's going to somebody, giving us, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have to still, should resort to the ulama. And he went, and he said to some sheikh, he said, listen, I've had this dream, and I'm really worried about dying outside of Medina. And the Prophet ﷺ, I asked him, how long do I have to live? And he showed me his palm. He said, is that in 5 years, 5 months, 5 weeks, or 5 days? And he said, no. He said, rather it is in 5. It is in 5, the knowledge of which only Allah has alone. Do you understand? And this, inshallah, I know some of you, mashallah, this may have been a reminder for some of you for what I've said, and some of you might have just thought, what on earth is he on about? Probably not understood some of what I've said. But, that just brings me back to my point, alimahu man alim, wa jahilahu man jahil. Do you understand? We have to be seeking knowledge. Some of the Salaf used to say, knowledge, al-ilm, an ta'lam ma yas'uka jahlu. That knowledge is knowing that which is permissible to be ignorant of. These are knowing the boundaries. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us all tawfiq, and that He makes me and us all better than that what people think of us. That He forgives for me and us all what people do not know about us, and that He does not hold us to account for what people say about us. Inshallah, wal a'malu bin niyat. Actions are by intentions. Wassalam.